Hey guys, love the AOT reactions. As you are a fair bit into the season, you've noticed changes in animation being CG used more often. The network wanted the season done in 8 months, hence the studio change. However, the fandom turned toxic quick. Animators get harassed weekly. The director deactivated his Twitter. What's your guys' thoughts on so-called fans asking for more than they get?
I mean, I know a lot of people like to pick on certain fandoms, like this one's toxic, this one, but I mean, there's toxicity in every fan group.
Yeah, it's just which one rears their head when.
Yeah, and it's which one's loud, like.
I think it's also a matter of, like, I think it's okay to critique and have your thing, like, guys, we liked it how it was, we would have loved to watch it this way, but, like, there's the toxic side of how you say it and what I mean,
I agree.
How many times have you Rose, right?
Yeah.
From Star Wars.
From last year.
The things that were said to
Kelly
her
Marie
that were like you were nothing for Star Wars, like kill yourself. Like, it's just
she got taken off Twitter and or not taken off. She stopped all social media and has continued. Even a thing came out yesterday of her being like, my life is so much better since I stopped doing social media.
I mean, it's
She's
one
not going
thing
back.
to like have your opinion and to voice it, but it's the way you voice it. It's the difference
It
of
is.
like, critically, like it's like critiquing something.
Yeah.
But like you can critique something without just shitting on whatever it is.
I absolutely agree, but like sometimes you'll get like Star Wars is a prime example. Like, the Star Wars fan bases are such shitty people. It's like not everybody's like that, and I think we have to remember that like fandoms are just people. There's just some toxic people. Yeah. And they happen to like different things.
I mean, it's
like,
when
you have to expect that from anything, because everybody out there is going to be toxic. One, toxic about something, and two, especially whenever you're on Twitter and you can just be anonymous and you're just pissed off about something and you just take it out and you feel better about yourself. Oh yeah, I really showed that person, and then someone else like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, like the line I think is just when you make it personal. It's like, why are you getting mad at these people?
Yeah,
like
sure.
They just did their jobs.
Yeah, and the people you should be targeting aren't like the people doing the animation. It's not the actors. Maybe sometimes it's directors, but lots of times it's the people way behind. It's the producers. It's the people making like the bigger money from the top end of it who are forcing their hand to where like, well, here's why Spider-Man 3 has to have all these characters in it. Not because the director wanted it to be this way.
Yeah.
Don't blame was Remy? Sam
Raimi.
Raimi? Like, don't blame him. Sure, he went with it, but he was also forced to do it.
He was contracted.
Push up higher to the bigger people. Like, target the companies and stuff, too, and those are the ones. But even still, like,
Even
you don't
still,
have to...
there's a level that you should target them.
You don't have to, like, sure. You don't
There's
have,
a limit,
it's the things you're saying, too. Like,
but I mean, what, like, very much talked about thing doesn't have toxicity in it, Like, think of all the toxic people in the realm of politics, in the realm of everything, There's toxic people that hate trying to, stop this pandemic, Like, what? The pandemic? You know?
I mean,
but there's
any group that grows large enough.
Exactly. Because it's just some people just have shitty takes. Most people have good takes, but they have a shitty take on one thing. But that one thing is way more likely to be talked about than all their good takes.
Yeah, we agree on a lot, but we disagree on the prequels.
That's
And
true.
that's what comes to your mind.
Yeah, it definitely comes to mind. Exactly. But it's about our discourse. Like, you see that meme where it's like, it's like Eric and Rick like discussing the differences of prequels, and we have like martinis and we're like discussing normally, And then it's like Star Wars fans talking about The Last Jedi, and it's just like a brawl like in a metal concert,
like a mosh pit,
Yeah. You can be respectful and disagree,
Sure, definitely.
And mock them behind your back, like when you leave, and I'm like, guys, Rick said this. No, I'm kidding.
isn't he ridiculous? And then we just start brawling.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I mean, and it's the same thing like in our comments, right? We'll put out a video, and our comments are awesome. Like, our community is fantastic. But I'll look at the comments of a video, and I'll see 500 great comments and 5 that are like either shitting on us or shitting on something. And that's the one guy that's the only person I'm going to reply back to. Or that's the only thing that gets to me. Or when I stop that, I'm like, that fucking guy. Because toxicity just like gets in your head,
Sure.
And that's the one that you want to respond to. Why shouldn't I respond to the 500 comments that are nice and encourage that behavior?
Yeah.
No,
I mean, negativity sells.
Yeah.
Like, the 10 things I hate the most YouTube videos are going to get more than the 10 things I love the most.
Yeah.
What's this guy hate? I'm gonna tell him why he's wrong. Like that's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's
usually
the
like,
thing.
who's this guy love? I'm gonna tell him why he shouldn't. But
Definitely.
yeah.
Like, there are things I don't like, but I don't think I'll ever go out and tell someone why they shouldn't like something they do, unless it's like harmful.
Sure.
But like, if I don't like this, but if there's someone's like, I really like this, I'm not gonna go up and be like, hey, one, I don't like it. I want you to make sure you know that, and two, here's why you shouldn't like it. You know?
Yeah. I don't care that you like the prequels.
Exactly. And you shouldn't, and you don't.
Yeah, and I don't care that you're wrong about not liking the prequels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's usually the way that most of those toxic people talk.
Yeah.
Like, I'd much rather just see people being like, Game of Thrones ending. A lot of people didn't like that, right? Like, voicing that you don't like it and that you wish it would be better. You can still get the point across that you don't like it, but you don't have to target an actor because like, this actor or actress.
As if that
You're
actor
blaming
or
them.
actress had any pull about what the story was when they were on set filming
Sometimes
it.
they get some sway with what they do, but for the most part, that stuff's coming from the writers, from the directors, from the producers, from up the ladder, and then people will target that individual and stuff. And I'm like, don't do that. Like that's like they didn't. They were just doing their job.
They
and
signed a
trying to make it the
contract.
best
They
way
had
can.
to.
Yeah.
I mean, the craziest one for me is Joffrey, where like
where people hate him because he was Joffrey.
it's like
He's such a good actor.
he's so good at his
Jack
job
Gleason is
Yeah.
great.
that but he didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's just it's finding, number one, where you should be venting it to make any change in it, because like you're not gonna solve it by talking to the actor that you're like this ruined it. No, you're gonna solve it by pushing up higher up and saying, hey, make sure that Disney knows you don't like this, or make sure whatever knows, not that one individual, but also don't come across as like, if you just start cussing them out and calling them pieces of shit and whatever else, like you're not gonna have any real meaningful say of anything.
You absolutely won't, and also like the change that you're asking for will absolutely not happen because you're just putting people off. You know,
like there's a
we do try to keep that in mind though. Like if we do see negative feedback that is toxic, you still don't want to disregard it completely.
no, you don't. I mean, because you can learn from everything. Like if someone's saying like fucking Eric's, well, he's fat and he's red faced and he's doing this, and he talked over Calvin, I'm gonna be like, you know what? I did talk over Calvin. I gotta get better at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just picking what you're wanting to say. It's just, and if you see everyone doing that, like, you don't have to follow suit. Don't feel like you have to follow suit, or at least critically think a little bit yourself and say it a different way. Be like, okay, I did dislike this. Why did I dislike this?
Yeah.
Was it because of this person? You know, what were the reasons?
Sure.
And then maybe, like, Eric and I had a conversation about, like, we were talking about Star Wars stuff. And we were talking about some of the stuff, like, you know what, I kind of didn't like this.
Yeah.
You know what? If they'd have done this, I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Like, if we pitched that and said, hey, Disney, you guys screwed this up. I didn't like it because you did this.
Sure.
I think this would be really cool. What do you think of this idea? And, like, just voicing that, hey, I didn't like this at all. But here's like why I didn't like it. I think would do much better. And if you had a lot of people kind of doing that, this was awful. I didn't like it. Why did you do this? You ruined this character, but you don't have to target that character or anything.
It's the same reason we're like, you know, like the good idea in that movie we were talking about and the bad idea came from the same source, i.e. someone writing something and thinking that it's going to be good, you know? Like sometimes I tell a joke and I think it's going to be a really good joke and I say it and people laugh. Sometimes I tell a joke and I think it's going to be really good and no one laughs, you know?
Someone always laughs when I tell a joke.
But it came from, yeah, I know. But it came from the same spot.
It's
the
you.
same, like, inspiration, the same, like,
Sometimes.
testing something. It's the reason why a comedian, they write something like, man, this is going to kill.
Sure.
But they don't put it to a special until they've been doing it for 2 years.
Sure.
Because they have to work at it. They got to put it in front of different people. There's going to be 1,000 different responses to it, and maybe 90% of them are good and 10% of them bad. And is that a good ratio, you know?
And that's most of the time.
Yeah.
But there are instances where sometimes people just torpedo things.
I mean, it is true. Sometimes the joke is that you do torpedo things.
Yeah.
You know? But I you know, you don't want to do that in an inappropriate spot where people are like, hey, I wanted to continue that conversation, you know? But I get you.
No. Understand entirely.
Mm-hmm.